I have lots of people get in touch saying, how do we go about photographing an interesting location when we're not there at the optimum time of day, which might be early in the morning so there aren't many people around, or the light is really nice? Well, to find out, I've come to Egisheim, which is the official most beautiful village in France. If you don't believe me, here is the plaque to prove it. So why are we here? Well, I thought, let's confront the problem head on. What would I do? As you can see behind me, there's some really interesting architecture, although it's a little bright because we're exposing for me and I'm in the shade. You can see there's lots of people about. We're in a market square with, you know, a fountain and all that stuff. Well, I don't know what I'm going to do. We're going to do this for real, but let's go for a little walk. Let's see what we can find, and I'll talk you through the shots that I take and show you how I would tackle the problem. I think this is quite an interesting sort of a corner. I like the yellow against the blue. Yellow and blue work really well against each other, and it's quite pretty. There's a few people kicking around. Now, of course, you can stand around and wait, and I'm going to be quite completely straight up with you. We're a bit later in the day than we thought we would be. At lunchtime, this was packed. But how would we go about the problem? Well, yellow and blue is going to work well. Look up here. We've got a window box. We've got a window, we've got blue shutters going on, we've got the blue of the sky. So how would we go about shooting something? Well, the obvious thing is obviously to kind of just have a wide lens and go for a shot, something like that, which is okay. There's a couple of people in it, but it's not particularly creative or that interesting. But how about those things I just mentioned? Let's explore them and see what looks nice. Could we get a shot just isolating and looking up here? Let me hit the video button and see if I can show you what I'm thinking. So here we go, we're looking through the video. Now look, you see, as I zoom in a bit, we're starting to isolate things more. I'm only using the basic 55mm 18 to 55mm lens, but I don't like this angle so much. I think it might be better if we got a bit closer. Let's just have a little wander over here. Come with me, let's have a look. If I get in a bit closer beneath this writing, you know, we've got the Germanic writing, we've got the blue, we've got the window box. Oh, that's more interesting straight away, look. So make sure the camera's level. I want to get the writing, but I also want this tower. So how about we'll come back a bit and just kneel down, just bend the knees, and there we go, and get that focused up. I quite like that as a shot, so I'm going to kill the video. Where are you? There we are, we're over here. I'm going to kill the video and take the shot. Right, I can look over the other shoulder now. Right, so this is nice and level. I'm just going to tweak that a bit, and I love that as a... There we go. I think we've got quite a nice little sort of a feeling of what this little courtyard looks like. Of course, you can experiment for ages, try different things, try different focal lengths, try different angles. But I want to go and see if I can find a different little corner with something else to photograph to show you. Here's a really cool little shot. Can you see behind me, there's this building. Look up in the top left-hand window. See, there's a girl sitting on the thing reading a book. I just think that makes a really cool little cameo shot. So let's have a look. How would we do it? I'm using my little Fuji so I can show you with the video. I'm only using a bog standard lens, 1855, exactly the sort of thing you'd bring with you on a day out. But I think that's a nice little shot. So let me look through and see what we've got. Hit the video button. Here we go. Now I want to brighten it up a little bit. Even though the sky's going very bright, you see, if I darken it down to get more blue, the building looks quite dark. So let's just brighten it up a bit. Let's just take that exposure up a bit, slowing down the shutter speed. I think that's probably about a good place to be. But it's like she's very lost, isn't she? She's very small in the frame. So I need to zoom in a bit. We're getting there, we're getting there. Now I think I'm going to lose the top of the building and see if I can just go with those 4 windows. That's hopelessly out of focus. Let me stop the video and refocus it. Sorry guys, it's one of those things, it's really tricky to focus the video whilst doing it. There we go. Now you see, that's looking quite good, isn't it, like that? Now there's a few heads walking around the bottom of the shot, but I'm going to go a bit closer. Let's just ease closer and start to fill the frame a bit more. Oh look, you see? We've got the 6 windows, a little bit of French flag going on, a little bit of greenery. I think that is our position. Hopefully I won't get run over. There we go. I think I'm in exactly the right place to take the picture. Let's have a look through here now and see what we've got. So I'm going to focus on the building. What kind of depth of field do I want? Think about this, you know? You always have to think. You can't be a photographer if you don't think like a photographer, and that's why I wrote the 7 building blocks of photography. But let's just have a look. Now, we don't need depth of field, do we? We have a very flat looking image. It's a flat one-dimensional thing. So you can use pretty much anything. I'm probably going to go for somewhere around f8, I think, because f8 is a good aperture, maybe f11. The lens performs really well at f11, so let's go with that. So we've already got the composition. You saw me do that with the video camera. I got everything lined up. My composition's good. There's just some people in the lower right corner. I'm just waiting for them to leave. See if I can just show them to you. You see there's these 2 ladies down the bottom. I'd like them to go. I can't, there we go, you see I can just about lose them. Right, let's just stop the video. And now I'm ready to shoot it. There we go, you see the moment has arrived, the decisive moment, shoot the picture. We've got the girl up on the top there. Now she is in shade, we want to be careful, we make sure we get her. So I'm just going to increase my exposure just a bit. Now it's going to get brighter, but I want to be sure I've got the girl and I've got an exposure for her. Make sure that's all level and click the shot. I think that's really cool, I quite like that. See what else we can find. I think this is a really cool shot just here. This little cameo up in the sky. Look, we've got the church tower right in the middle and the sun is behind it. To the left here, we've got the top of the house. We've got the window with the French flag all furled up, the stork's nest on top of the building. And over this side, we've got a bell tower. We've got a stork's nest on top of that. That's a really interesting little sort of cameo shot. Also, I'm big on putting the sun into things at the moment. If we put the sun right on the edge of the spire, use a small aperture, we'll get those poo, 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 sort of like star shapes coming off the sun. Really cool, really simple. How do we do it? Small aperture. It's the light hitting the back of the blades and it creates that star shape. At least that's what I think it is, but who cares? It does it, okay? So we know small aperture. I'm going to choose an aperture of, I'm going to go with f18 because then I know I'll get those stars. So our aperture is set. We then have to base the exposure around it using our shutter speed and our ISO. How do we know where to stand for the composition? There's always a clue on the ground. Shadows. You see this shadow here lying along the ground? This shadow is the shadow of the spire. So that is where I need to be standing in order to line the sun up with the edge. Because we don't want it out to the side, we want it on the edge. Let's try it, let's have a look at it. So if I stand here, aligned on this shadow, let's just see if we can get some video rolling. Good, we've got video rolling. Now here we go, as I zoom in and out a little, you should be able to see. Now that's, I think, it's a possibility for a shot, but I think I prefer it, bringing that in tighter onto the top with just the windows and the tower and the top of the building. I like that. So how about this sun? Look, as I move to the right, we have too much sun. Now I've only moved, whoa, 3 inches. If I do the same to my left, look, it disappears. It's very subtle movements. Look at this, I'm moving a centimetre or 2. You can see how the sun is sneaking around the edge and disappearing. You see? Now where do we want to be? I reckon our composition is about there. Let's kill the video and take the picture. So our aperture set, f18, already chosen that. Let's have a look through, let's see what the exposure has to say. Let's focus it up, let's find the place we want to be. It's just there. What does my histogram have to say? It says that on the bog standard setting, it's going to be just a little bit too dark. Why too dark? We're looking into the sun. It's because the sun's confusing the light meter and telling the camera that's much brighter, but we want it brighter. We want to be able to see in the shadows. So I'm going to add about 1 stop and a third of exposure to the shot. Now you can do that any way you like. You can do it in an auto mode, semi-auto mode with exposure compensation, or you can do it manually. So let's get this lined up. I want the sun there, there's our buildings, there's our windows, and take the shot. I think that's looking really cool. I just want to have a quick look, check the histogram. Perfect! That histogram is showing me that there's detail in the shadows, there's detail in the highlights, and then in Lightroom, all we have to do is just bring them to life. We lighten the shadows, we darken the highlights. It's exactly the same as hand printing with film. It's not cheating, it's just maximizing your image. I think that was really cool.